AOC has a degree in international relations, but she can't pass a 6th grade geography test.
That doesn't mean that we can kidnap a head of state and engage in acts of war just because the nation is below the equator.
Once again, Charlie was right and college is a scam.
We look at what happened in Venezuela, for example. It is not a a remark on who Maduro was as a leader. He canceled elections. He was an anti-democratic leader. That doesn't mean that we can kidnap.
These video clips of AOC in Munich. She's not ready for prime time. Cowboys did come from Spain because horses came from Spain, even with the flaws with Western civilization. As a deaf woman, I have more rights and freedoms. Because of it,
sure that we never get to that point. And
yes, everybody would like to make sure we never get to the point where China attacks Taiwan and we're faced with the choice of whether we intervene militarily. We all know that. The question was, what will you do? What should the United States do in the event that China does attack Taiwan militarily?
We want to make sure that we are moving in all of our economic research and our global positions to avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
I'm sorry, she's a joke, at least when it comes still to foreign policy. I'll leave everything else aside since we're focused on that. And it is a recent debate as well. Like I said, under the Biden administration, there were some extremely hawkish and provocative statements Joe Biden made about Taiwan. Nancy Pelosi elevated that as a major issue to the House caucus. She could just say, which she sort of did inadvertently, I think it's best to, I believe in strategic ambiguity that the United States has always offered, so I don't think we ought to say in advance what we're going to do to leave that ambiguity.
Yes, I have never seen this before. AIC is being mocked on both sides. Republicans are mocking her, and Democrats are doing the same. That should tell you alone, this is someone they are looking up to, like she can run for president. I was extremely shocked to realize that this lady had no response to this question. If you look deep into it, if you are being elected president, really, what will be your response, immediate response to some of these issues? She has no idea when it concerns foreign policies. That has been something that I've seen a lot of people are putting out on social media. Lady of the View actually did an incredible job calling these people out the way it should. It is important we take an exclusive look into these.
To avoid any such confrontation and for that question to even arise.
Do you know what, Blair? I still have absolutely no idea what she was trying to say there. I don't think she had any idea what she was trying to say there. Do you have any idea what she was trying to say there?
Not really, and it's a bit scary amidst all the people on the left floating the idea of AOC being the next candidate in 28 and vying for more power. That's a little scary to me. So I don't really know. Does that mean that she would or she wouldn't? I guess I don't have many thoughts about that clip other than I don't know what the hell she was saying.
No, I don't think she knows. I think that's super unfair. I think that's super unfair. I think what she's basically being asked here is if the U.S. should like engage in what may be tantamount to with the other biggest global superpower on Earth, and like that's not an easy question. That's what she was asked. Yes, that's not an easy question to answer, and I actually think, she stammered in the beginning, and God knows that we've all stammered in the beginning of difficult questions, but I think that her answer was that we need to engage in diplomacy so that it doesn't get to that point is a perfectly acceptable answer, and frankly, a much better answer than Donald Trump saying, no, we do need to like annex Greenland, take over the Panama Canal. I mean, what are we doing here? AOC gave a perfectly reasonable example, even if it wasn't as clean as we would have all hoped, a perfectly reasonable response, a diplomatic solution in the face of an administration right now that is doing the polar opposite and basically ushering in a new era of imperialism. I would 10 times out of 10, 1,000 times out of 1,000 defer to AOC's answer here as far as international relations go than what we are currently living through in this very moment.
Terrible, and you know it. So don't provide cover for it.
So tell me what you think would have been a more acceptable answer.
Well, a sensible answer would have been exactly what you said, which you claim she said, but she didn't say that. You read that from her statements, but her statement was more than just clamoring. It was just a bunch of word salad nonsense because she's not an expert on foreign policy. This is a weak spot for her. So this is an area where...
Honest, I will not actually even blame this guy because this is the same cover-up we saw during the Biden period. If Biden gaffer up, these people will stand up and defend that. Oh, that was perfect. Oh, it's the same thing that I'm just saying right now. Struggling to say AIC's response was perfect is crazy. She had no idea. I mean, she had no idea on what to say. So I don't know. Before going to a place like this, you need to prepare. You need to know that tough questions like this are coming up. You need to understand and be ready to tackle your questions every single time.
Though we need to have higher standards for Democrats. That's a false option. I agree with you in regard to the Trump administration's penchant for...
Well, I think mispronouncing a word is totally different than not knowing your position on Taiwan. And what's important is how you recover from something. You know, Trump, he has done things. He has continued on with his speech and then continued on to meet with world leaders. Yeah. So the recovery is what mattered, and the AOC just didn't have a recovery.
No, but he does it over and over again. How about the quantity of times?
Let's point out that, you know, he is the president. Yeah. And he's been the president before.
For 25 years, it seems.
You know, just your appearance on the world stage like this tells everyone everything they need to know. If this kind of person is put in positions like the president, nobody will respect the country. That is simple. Not because she's a woman, just because of the way they tackle these kind of questions. If you see Trump, the manner in which he usually responds to this kind of question, he will say some weird things, like some kind of things you don't even expect someone to say. And he will say them, look, I'm going to blow up, I'm going to do this. This is just like, you know, he gives it out there. Then at the end of the day, you come to the table, we negotiate. You know, it's very simple as that. Though he has done that in some cases, that is how you answer questions. Use this approach. Don't just go, you may make your word. You know, it doesn't actually show power. Like, you know, any person standing struggling to defend this is crazy. They are bringing out, oh, Trump made a gaffe, Trump did this one, Trump said, I don't want to look at that. Everybody knows who Trump is. We know that he's a tough person. That is the truth. And he is just better than what we saw, even with the Biden administration. So if I see cackling the few struggling to bring this kind of comparison, it doesn't add up at all. Let's forget about politics. Let's be real. These people knows very well that AIC can't actually even stand. Democrats at this point are doing this. They are actually going off on her simply because they don't want her to even run. Yeah. Some are saying, oh, Gavin Newsom is a person. If you look around, they're criticizing Gavin Newsom like never before. That should tell you something. Like I said, this lady is not ready here. Her foreign positions on, in fact, there are a lot of clips that I can put out here about AIC. You will clearly just see that, no. That is just my observations throughout. I don't want to make the video long. I think I'm going to end here. God bless you abundantly. As of the short clips that end, that is for the white algorithm. You can always share the clips.
You know, I've dealt with a lot of loss in my life, and I realize now that I've just, you know, passed the 50 mark 4 years ago. Life goes.
Now, in the name of transparency.
Crowd, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech. You're in no position to lecture the public about people.
A person's home, it's very easy to understand.
When I look at that video, I don't see both sides in a dogmatic.
The Golden Globe for Best Editing goes to the Justice Department.
This is for her. This is for the people in the United States who are terrorized and scared today.
Yes. Of course, this is for
the mother.
Babies are upstairs watching. Y'all better be up them damn phones and watching me.
Them. Thank you, everyone. I'm a little in shock about that.
Maduro.
Let your hatred and
Sit this one out.
Well, these guys.
There you go.
$1,500.
Let's see if they get the.
Well,
I want to see them get.
Everybody knew that wasn't true.
A dangerous relative as a likely suspect. A tip that led to her brother Nick. Rob Reiner and Nick had a heated argument the night before at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party, being back on zone. In one interview, she said,
We should have said nothing. The United States to take this family tragedy in which the president had made no comment.
When people ought to have.
Absolute horror.
Hi, Mel Gibson. I'm in Italy.
There is a quota system.
Last year hosting the Grammys. Song.
Even women like Sonny cannot pronounce authoritarian words.
With James Tallarico.